So we are recording?
Yes, we are ready and live to take over the world and to teach them about C++. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Simon. I'm a master student at the KIT of Computer Science, and we are having a fun little project together. And today we are going to talk a little bit about how to maybe choose your first project and what to have in mind about that.
Yes, so this topic, I guess this series, right, because we're going to do a couple of things out of this, hopefully.
Sounded like that,
yeah. Yeah, is going to be all about programming, specifically C++ programming, and Simon here is kind of an expert in a lot of ways, right? Or hopefully towards the end of this, we will kind of be able to claim the title with some confidence. So what are we going to be talking about today, Simon?
Yeah, like I said, how to maybe choose your first programming languages project based on the experience that you have. And I think it's a good idea to maybe get a little bit of a grasp of what Manassar has done so far, so we can get yourselves in tuned where you are leveled, and then hopefully you can think about something yourself.
Absolutely. So the idea is to come up with a project that interests you, something that you think could require the tools of programming in order to implement itself, and then how you would go about executing that necessarily. So our programming language of choice is C++, and we're going to get into a little bit more details about that, and Simon will get into like his flip chart presentation mode and give us a very nice introduction into the basics of it. Do you also want to tell them about how you have to choose your programming language depending on what you want to do with it?
Yeah, so I think there are like multiple approaches. Like the two basic ones is you either choose the programming language based on the project that you want to do. This is very good when you have like multiple languages to choose from that you are familiar with, and then you have set yourself a task and you choose the language which is suited best to solve the problem. This is more like the production approach when you don't want or you don't need to learn anything. But in case of learning, you could go the other way around. You, for example, like we did, set ourselves the language, and then we thought about what we could do. And we set ourselves the goal of learning more in C++, hence we simply choose the language. And from that we brainstormed what could be a suitable first project to learn the language, to learn all the basics.
And so why do you think we took C++? Do you want to talk about like its applications or how wide-ranging it is? And it's like a very dynamic programming language in that it's very versatile and there's just so much you can do.
C++, well, you can basically do anything. This, well, holds true for most other languages. It's simply how suitable they are for certain jobs. But C++ is a very powerful language because it can also be used for this very low-level stuff, but also on this very high level with the object orientation. Huge projects are built with it that have millions of lines of codes. Maybe a very fun application could be, I think it was for the movie Interstellar, with like this huge, massive black holes and these black hole lenses. And this has all been done in C++ and plus some graphic stuff. And all these renders, a huge code base, a million lines of code. It actually also got in through the process of producing two public scientific papers.
That's right, yeah.
So that maybe shows a little bit of the power of C++.
As a person, I like to see C++ being used in interesting places, like your camera there, the Mars rovers, telescopes. I work in the finance industry just now. A lot of the networking is done in C++. In the games industry, most of the graphics and the animation kind of stuff is in C++. There's a lot of C++ in cars. BMW is a C++ shop. In these days, the self-driving cars, a lot of that work is in C++ too. We were talking about energy. The oil industry uses it, and the wind turbines are using it a lot. So one of the things that I find really cool about C++ is whatever you're interested in, it's a very good way of getting in and talking to people doing these interesting things and in interesting places.
So coming to the route that we took basically is that we already decided on what programming language we wanted to get better at, and then we chose a project accordingly, which by the way we will also talk about in a few. But the big question then is, if you want to take this approach, how can you go about it? So if you have a programming language that you really want to work on, what is the project that you should go for?
Right. So with C and C++, we have a quite complex programming language that also demands a lot of like pre-work, like not only the programming side is a little bit more maybe intimidating at first, but also the building part and getting into that. So therefore, I would recommend to really start off with something very basic. For example, a Hello World program. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And even if you are a programmer that has like multiple of years in experience in languages like Python, when you switch to C++, you maybe are a little bit overwhelmed, and at least for me it's always a little bit the case of like I simply 100% forget how programming works. This is like a hurdle that you just have to overcome in the beginning, but don't get put away by this. You simply have to get your way through it, and this will also teach something if you have not had this lesson before. Frustration is something that you will learn through programming. It will harden you.
Okay, so with that being said, I will now leave it to Simon to tell us a little bit more about the technical sides of C++, so you can see exactly how sort of challenging initially, yeah, if you were to get into it, you can see what we're talking about. This is not working. I don't know what I'm saying.
It was great.
Oh, wow, thank you. I wanted to do a segue into
Yeah.
you talking on the flowchart.
I got that.
You did? Shoot, I should have kept on with it. You know what? Cue the next scene.